Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, my compressor switch keeps breaking down on me, and I replaced it with one off of like a smaller compressor I found that was used. And I actually found this Home Depot for, it was like less than 15 bucks. I had to order it. They didn't have it at the one by me, but they shipped it there for free. So I'm going to go ahead and try and put this switch on. I don't know much about it, or even if it's going to be as good as the switch that's on there. I do know that it's not exactly the same switch, but from what I've seen, you can put them on just about anything. Something you do have to pay attention to is the PSI. My tanks are good up to 175 PSI, which was the max switch I could find. So you got to pay attention to that. You got to make sure that this rating matches your tanks and your compressor. This one does. So it's a Power Mate genuine replacement part. I know it looks like I'm part way done with it, but I'm not in the video. Anyhow, I did make sure all the pressure was drained out, and there's absolutely no power going to this. This machine has actually been sitting for a while, so I'm not too worried about, you know, residual power and all that kind of stuff. But yet again, you're responsible for your own safety. But it does appear that there is some adjustment. I'm not going to mess with those. I'm going to make sure it turns off when it needs to turn off. Otherwise, I don't need any more or less. Anyhow, the only thing I have a little bit of wonder about is this right here. But this looks like it's actually going to be easier to deal with than the one that's on there right now, and I have replaced it before, so it looks like I can cut it off and stick it in there. I'm not positive. Now, another thing I will say, it does say right on the package, must be installed by a certified electrician, which I am not, so probably void all your warranty if you buy one of these and install it yourself. I really don't know, but I'm not gonna worry about it. We're gonna try and get it on there.
That was. Oops. Guess I put more pressure on that than I thought.
Well, after breaking my other one even more than it already was, I need to make an adapter, or use an adapter to adapt this size. To do that, I'm using the same thing that came. I'm just taking apart the one I had. It had this little adapter piece here that has smaller threads on this side and bigger ones on this side, and it'll go in there. But before I even do that, I kind of set this on here and figured out I need to bend this so it goes into here, and I'm hoping that this size will fit. I'm actually just going to cut this off up here and kind of test it, and I'll go from there. I'm going to bend it down here and have to cut it again. I'm going to figure out my cutter there for a minute. Been a little while since I've done that, but anyhow, push this on here, and it seems to fit on there real nice. It's real easy to get off. You just push the little blue part here and it pops right off. So I'm thinking that I'm going to take this and bend it appropriately and just use this piece here. That makes this a lot easier. You don't have to have those fittings and, you know, have special tools to make that work. So that's a real nice setup on that one. I like that. Alright, so I've bent this up probably a little bit. Got a little kink there, but I got this bent alright. Anyhow, I think it'll work fine. I'll have to do a little bit more once I get this completely mounted down just right, but I believe I have it, so we're going to make this work, hopefully. And I'm going to go ahead and put some tape on this just to keep it from leaking. Just some plumber's tape of some sort, I'll go look and see what I got, and I'm going to start mounting this on. Alright, now it's time to put this in here. You probably won't be able to see it, but it should be fairly self-explanatory and easy. I'm just going to kind of hand tighten that on there for now. Bring this around and see. You know what? I'm going to have to put that in first actually and see if I can put it on. Yeah. Definitely going to have to put it into this part first. And then thread it into the other part. And I'm going to have to bend it. You're just going to have to be careful. If you have copper like me, I think this is made more for like a plastic stuff, but I don't have that. And I don't really want to use that with the kind of pressure I'm using. So I'll be honest, it probably would be easier just to replace it with the exact same one that came off of it, but like I said, I wanted to go with something a little different, and this was cheap. Nope. Definitely going to have to put it into this part first. And it's a little bit scary because, yet again, this is plastic. Do what I'm doing, be careful, because it's not working perfectly for me right this second. We're hoping for the best. I don't know if that bend really helped very much there. I'm going to take a little bit more off the end of this. I do think. Alright, I took a little bit more off the end of this. We're going to try it again and hope it's not too much. And that's pretty close. If I can get it to. Alright, I think I got it, so hopefully. I know I say hopefully a lot, but that's because I'm kind of just running along for the ride too. I've never put one like this on, so I don't know how things exactly go. And I'll be honest, like, this didn't come with any kind of instructions whatsoever. It just said make sure a qualified electrician does it. I am definitely not that. I'll put together a couple things. First of all, had I to do this over again and didn't want to, I would have had to lengthen this hose that I put in the back here that I just got on. To get this on and off, it's kind of colliding with this piece here. The other thing is this wire here is way too thick for the holder that is back here, so I'm not going to be able to probably put it on anyway. Anyhow, so that's something that you might want to think about, or if you're doing the same thing as me. The other thing is actually this is oppositely wired up from my other switch. This one has line, and this one on the bottom says motor. It was vice versa on my other one, and so line is power coming in from whatever cord, whatever you're plugging this into from the wall, and motor is going to your compressor, or the motor here that drives the compressor. So being as that is that, it also has two screws down here that the grounds go on. I already did the ground for the motor, and because the motor is the bottom one, that's the one I'm going to hook up first. And yet again, there is nothing saying what they need to be as far as which one goes where, so I'm hoping there isn't a problem with this. I am going to do, since I'm doing white on this one and black on this one, I'm going to do white here and black here, just because that's what I'm going to do. And then obviously the ground goes to where the ground is. Putting I eyelets on these, on the ground ones. This one already had one on it. I did replace these here with some different connectors just because they weren't very tight. But normally you might want to put like the forked ones. I don't know what the technical name of them are. So you don't have to pull this completely all the way out. But because I put this one on here, I'm going to use it because it's I didn't want to have to go buy more terminals to. I can make do with what I have. Well, maybe. Yet again, this is not actually plugged into anything right now, so I'm not too worried about hurting myself. And all the air is also out of the tanks here. Got to make sure all those things. Okay, so that should be wired up. I got the grounds nice and tight. All the wires where they need to be. I should be able to get the cover on here, even with the wires. I tried to get the wire keeper, whatever it is, on there. It's just not going to happen with this wire here. So at a later date, I may choose to go to a smaller wire, but I have this. It is more than enough as far as to do the job, and it's, you know, flexible. And all I have is that would work for this is not flexible stuff. So I'm going to use this. Now I'm leaving the cover off for now. I have it switched to the off position. I made sure it's on the off position. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in to the wall. I'm also going to make sure I can get to the switch here, which is shut off right now. So I'm going to double check. I believe everything's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the switch at the breaker. Hopefully this does not come on or smoke. And then we'll go from there. Okay. Turn the switch on here at the breaker. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch this on. Don't try this at home because now there is live power in here. So if you touch the wrong thing, you could really get yourself, because this is 240.
Alright.
Pretty well dead on where it's supposed to be according to this gauge. A little bit higher on this gauge, but not much. This is a smaller gauge here, so it's actually going way past the red according to this one. The pressure relief worked. You heard the hiss at the end where the air blew out. The air you're hearing now is from my where I drained my tank at. That has leaked since I owned it almost. I need to replace that. So everything seems to be working fine on it. They provide these plugs here. This one was already in it. You can put one here and here and just have this, but I decided I'd go ahead and throw on another outlet here so that I can plug an air line in and go that way. Now this will neck it down, so if you want to use any real powerful stuff, you're not going to want to use this one. You'd want to go down. I recommend probably getting more proper sized wires than what I have here. And I know where I'm touching, so I'm not touching anything I shouldn't. Nothing feels warm or hot. The plug doesn't feel warm or hot. The fuse is working correctly. And everything seems to be doing well. So I'm going to go ahead and button this up and put the top on it. That's just a matter of putting the top on, and then you got a screw that kind of screws into this area. so far I'm happy. If I have any problems in the future, you will know about it. I hooked up some air to it so I could test it. Everything seems to be working alright, so I'm pretty happy with it so far, especially for the price. Now the biggest thing is how long will it last. This switch is actually made for a compressor this size, so I'm hoping it'll last a little longer than the last one. Last one I used was off of like a little Craftsman air compressor. It was a tiny little thing, and I adjusted the pressure up about as far as it would go, and I never could get it up much past 150 without the pop-off valve going off that was on it, and I didn't want to go over its capabilities, but hopefully this one will do alright for me. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, Master none. You all have a good one.